What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. It's been pretty hectic. It's just a couple days after Christmas now. But I thought I'd make a little video. People asking me what would be like a good beginner plant and stuff like that. So I decided I'll make a quick little video. Well, as quick as I can try. But like the different types of levels of owning Nepenthes, so such as like owning a beginner level Nepenthes, an intermediate level Nepenthes, and then like an expert style. I don't know if there's really an expert style, but like one that takes a little bit more extensive care than a normal Nepenthes. So pretty much you can put them in a category as such as in like Highland, Intermediate, and Ultra Highland and Ultra-lowland. And I'll show you the different styles and types of growing plants like that. So let's go ahead and jump on into the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and start in the lower chamber. Now, like I said, we're going to start off with the beginning plants. Something like this setup is obviously not really a beginner setup, but definitely feasible. But that's not the point. The reason I'm going in here first is because I have a cutting of the most hardy plant probably of all time, other than the other plant that I will also introduce. But this is Nepenthes ventricosa. See, Nepenthes ventricosa is probably one of those Nepenthes that you could literally set it and forget it, somewhat to an extent. That can live on a windowsill, in your bathroom, in your kitchen, on like a kitchen window. Pretty much anywhere that has a sustainable amount of light, this plant can definitely sit there and thrive. The only mandatory things you would need is pretty much make sure that the light and you're making sure that the soil is still moist on the top here. Not drenched or anything like that, but just keep it moist and spraying every day. Or if you would like, you could always have a little humidifier, and honestly you could probably water it like once a week and it'd be completely fine. This plant is a little beat up just because it's a cutting from my mother plant. This is a confirmed male, even though it's called a mother plant. It's pretty funny. But yeah, these are really hardy plants. I have another cutting of it over here. This is a better example. This guy really took off a little bit faster. But same thing here. Super easy plant to take care of. Not a lot of light that it's needed. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and try to get a beginner Nepenthes, I would say go ahead and get a ventricosa. You can never go wrong with these. As soon as they start developing and really getting established, they get huge. The plant itself, the pitchers get pretty moderate size, probably about the size of my fist here. That's how big they can get from like the top to down. Yeah, they get that big, and then once they start to vine, the pitchers actually go from a red to like a nice porcelain white, which is really nice. I would show you mine, but my kitchen's a little dirty because of Christmas, so I decided to just show you the cuttings. So now we'll go down to the second level of the humidity chamber style. Now all the way back here, let me see if I don't punch any plants here. Sorry, you guys can just look at. Here is probably the one of the, or if not the best example of the ultimate Nepenthes. Now these you can literally find at any nursery or Home Depot, stuff like that. These guys are super hardy. But yeah, this is Nepenthes ventrata, which is Alata cross ventricosa. So that is like a cross name between those two. I believe California Carnivores named it that, but I'm not 100% sure. But yes, I mean, when I first started, this was my first Nepenthes, and I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard for me to kill it.
I like him, will you? You're not afraid of death. You're like me.
I still have the mother plant. It's also downstairs, and that one is taking off really well. These guys get large, and actually the pictures actually get really large as well. These during the winter and early spring, the pictures actually, the lip of the picture actually becomes a nice, really gloss red. So this is definitely a awesome beginner plant to start with. I can't recommend this plant enough. Like I said, I picked up a bunch of these actually from my local nursery, and you know, usually you actually won't see them like this. I changed the soil and everything, and I started letting them pitcher, and they're doing amazing. But again, you can have these on your windowsill, and these guys will instantly take off without a doubt and not even skip a beat. So if you want to get into a Nepenthes and start, I would definitely check out a ventrata or a ventricosa. These are awesome, not too mandatory plants to go ahead and get. All right, so now let's go into the intermediates. Now you can see that I have a bunch of what I would call intermediate plants. Now intermediates are plants that are, I wouldn't say as hardy as these guys. They can be, but they're not usually. If you can send them through a shock, they will usually want a little bit more humidity. They're gonna, I don't know, I would say they still need a little bit of a nighttime drop, but it doesn't need to be so intense like a Highlander. Let's see if the camera here focuses. But yeah, these plants are super cool to have. Something like these, you would want to start building a little setup for them, but they still can be on a windowsill. Don't get me wrong, but they won't grow as large, or sometimes the pictures come off a little beat up. So if you can see here, this is my Hamada Krasvichii, and I didn't have it in 100% humidity, or like in the 80s. I had this actually on my windowsill. It was doing fine. It developed a picture over here, but then for some reason it just went through a pout mood and started developing really ugly leaves. And on top of that, it got infested with mites and stuff, so I had to take care of it. But it's starting to bounce back now. But as you can see, it kind of went through this weird leaf thing. So intermediates usually want a little bit more humidity. So let me show you a good example of an intermediate picture. Okay, we're gonna go over here. So this is my AW Vichii cross Lowii, and this guy you can still grow on a windowsill, but I would say probably grow a lot slower, and probably wouldn't want to. It slowed down quite a bit in growth. This guy likes a lot more humidity to develop a lot of pictures. Best example is that once you get the humidity right, these guys hold on to a lot of pictures at a time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's another one behind there, but it's 6 pictures. And this is just because the humidity that it needs. So I have a little humidifier here that's constantly pumping humidity into the air. Wow, camera's not wanting to focus. But yeah, so that is kind of a intermediate level plant here. And these guys get huge. They're usually a little bit more colorful, and so once you start getting to the crosses and stuff, that they're gonna want to demand a little bit more humidity. You could also cross things like with ventricosa and they still become hardy, but even then, like if you try to get like a Trusmatiensis with ventricosa, which I believe is called Sabri, which I have over here, same thing. I tried growing it on the windowsill, but it didn't like it too much, so I pumped up the humidity. You can kind of see back there, so it's like a small jungle over here. Right there. Let's see if I can focus. Doesn't want to focus. Hold on. Nope. Oh yeah, it's there. Here's a newer picture that's opening here. But yeah, this is that is more of the intermediate levels. Pretty much all of these plants here are my intermediate levels, except this guy. Actually, this guy, forgotten. This guy can also be grown as a, almost like a ventricosa style, but like I said, almost any plant you put into an intermediate style will start to develop a lot better than just a drier humidity and stuff like that. So that is pretty much all I got for the intermediates. If you have any questions, you can always contact me down below and I'll answer your questions right away. All right, so now let's get into the ultra highland, ultra lowland. So we'll go to my tank over here. Just give me a second, just gotta get stuff. So as you can see, this is the tank setup here. The tank setup, it's constantly at pretty much 90% humidity with the temperature being around 90 degrees. It has a little bit of a temperature drop during the night. That's just because I do have frogs that live in here. So let's go ahead and open it up and I'll show you what it's like inside. Now that we have opened it, obviously I gotta be a little bit quicker with this because obviously the heat and humidity will drop quite significantly. I actually have a little probe here that says in Celsius. Temperature, so right now the temperature is sitting at around 75. Can probably be a little bit hotter, but the second heat mat turns on later in the day, so around 3 p.m. But yeah, I actually got this plant a lot smaller. I'll put like a picture of it, of what it looked like beforehand with the tank setup. And I tried growing a bicalcarata. That's what this little guy is, the little famous fang pitcher. You can see that, the teeth. I actually tried growing this guy on my windowsill and it was a complete fail. It struggled with growth. It did not want to do anything. It was not working for me whatsoever. So, you know, I actually wasn't really into trying to grow a Nepenthes in a tank, just because, as you can see, this plant has become a monster already. But once I set up the tank for it, because this is ultra lowland, it started to take off in growth right away. So the things I did for this tank in order for it to grow, I have an LED grow light by FET Electric. Then I have a heat pad underneath here, underneath all the soil. I think it's a 20-watt heat pad. And then I have a little Exoterra heat mat that stays on constantly, and then the one on the bottom turns on later on in the day. I used to have one right on the back here, but because I have frogs, once I put frogs in here, I went ahead and removed it so they didn't burn themselves. But that really got the temperature moving. But I just kind of experimented with it because you can't have it too hot with the little frogs in there because you can harm them, and I definitely didn't want to do something like that. But no, the heat stays pretty consistent. So like I said, it stays around 75 degrees, and then it gets all the way up to maybe around 85. Then it has a shut off once it starts getting a little hotter, so that way it doesn't harm the frogs. The plant will be, honestly, it will be completely fine, but like I said, the frogs that live in here, you can actually see one little guy right there. That should be, that might be my frog Enrique. But yeah, this is the tank setup here, and this is my jungle moss, and I haven't really changed out the pot or soil yet, but it's grown back pretty well. But yeah, this is the ultra lowland style. Usually on most ultra lowlands, I have a Northiana in the other tank That's a little bit above. I won't show that one up because the light is currently turned off right now. I have to turn it on because I have to clean out the tank. I'm actually going to move it into something a little bit bigger, which I'll make a video on pretty soon. But as you can see, like I said, these plants really do really well actually in a tank setup. So if you're going to try to get a bical, definitely do a tank setup. And it's super rewarding because these plants do not, once they are in the right environment, and they really start taking off like without a problem. This was one of my smallest plants. Now it's one of my biggest plants, and this growth is only because of 1 year. It could also be due to the light itself, the LED light. It's a full spectrum bulb that you can almost find at online. I'll leave a link in the description. You could also actually find it at Home Depot. I think they carry them FET electric bulbs now too. But yeah, no, definitely do a tank setup for a bical. It's super rewarding once you do so, and once you get everything down, honestly, it's actually almost easier than any other plant, because the humidity stays up. The only thing I would say is if you have an open top like this one, you're gonna want to go ahead and saran wrap it. So that's what's going on here, so that way it keeps the humidity in a lot better. And then you can throw a little frog in there or something like that. Fortunately, I did have a red-eye tree frog, but he passed. I actually got him pretty beat up from the store that we got him from. I don't want to name it, but kind of sucks that he passed. It was a little sad, but it happens. But the other two guys, they're doing really well. We have 2 frogs in here. That's one guy and the other guy. We were going to move the red-eye tree frog into a bigger tank once I had set it up, because we already had one ready, but he only made it about a week. I mean, the guy even asked if I was sure about buying it, but buying him. But it's just the name of the game. So if that's why you don't kind of see him. If you follow me on Instagram, that's my son's lips because he kissed the tank. All right, so that is the lowland chamber. That is from beginner, intermediate, and then this is kind of the expert level. But like I said, once you get this down, it's going to be almost easier than just as easy as the beginner level plants. Now, these guys here on the lower level, these are my ultra highland plants. These are probably, they can be a little bit more finicky. I have 2 Velosas. One's from BE and one is from Native Exotics. Then I have a red hairy Hermata, which is from Jeremiah Harris. It's a seed-grown red hairy, or Diabolica. These guys can be very temperamental in temperature and stuff like that. So I have to drop the temperature from like 75 degrees all the way down to I can only get it about 60 due to this setup that I built. I think I made a video on this a while back. I'll leave a link somewhere. But all it does is it's pretty much a swamp cooler, but it has an interchangeable filter that you can freeze, and that's what I change out. And I put ice water on the top here. It's a little bit of a buckety setup, but it works pretty well, and the plants seem to do better. But red hairy Hermata grows really slow. My Velosas are starting to take off a lot better. I'm trying to experiment with something. I'm trying to see if I can just let them grow kind of intermediate style, like periodically every other day, and it's kind of working. I see a lot more growth in my red hairy Hermata than keeping it a little bit more cold. I even miss some nights where I don't chill out the tank, and it seems to be working. I mean, I even have a bigger picture on the back there, if you can see that, on my Velosa, and that guy is starting to develop bigger pictures. But I'll keep everyone updated. Like I said, you probably want to follow my Instagram because I do daily posts there, so you can keep tracking everything. But yeah, that's the Highland tank. Highland tank is pretty much set up just as the ultra-lowland tank, except it doesn't have heaters. It has a chiller, but it still has a false bottom and a drainage layer. You want to keep that because these plants a lot more finicky and are a lot more prone to root rot than probably like a bical carrata here. But yeah, that's the Ultra Highland setup. Like I said, I already made a kind of a video about this, so that's the setup for that one. Sorry guys, a little rusty on making videos, but that's pretty much it for right now. I can't think of anything else to cover. I have a lot of plants. I think I have 250 plus plants now, and I have a lot more on the way. We just got a greenhouse, so we'll do a video on that pretty soon. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll do a little bit of the B-roll for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, like and subscribe and hit the bell. And yeah, thanks guys, and have a good one.